When you are selling on Amazon, one of the most important things is to win a buy box. There's a huge competition out there and you need to win it in order to be on the first page and sell your items. Now, there are different strategies to win the buy box, but definitely you need a right amount of data in order to analyze and create your own strategy. Hi, I'm Jakob from Deltologic, and today I want to show you how to build a tool to track your own asins and your competition asins, check the buy box winner, and monitor the price and other data. We'll be using Python with Django to create the user interface for our web app, and we'll be using Selling Partner API in order to retrieve the data from Amazon. Now, from all of you who don't know what the buy box is and who the buy box winner is, it's basically the offer which is displayed right here. So for example, if you are selling this product, sorry for the Amazon Italy, but I have the credentials for Selling Partner API from this marketplace, so we'll be focusing on there. There's not much to understand, but anyway. When you are selling and you are winning the buy box, your offer is basically displayed on the main screen. But there are other sellers who are competing to be there and be displayed with there. They have different prices, different reviews, different stars, and so on. There are many different variables that define if you win the buy box or not. And basically Amazon constantly changes the buy box winner. And then you may adjust your price in order to win it. This is basically, in short, how the buy box works. And today I want to show you what we'll build. So basically, first of all, this is our end solution. So as you see here, we'll be able to turn on and turn off the different asins in order to monitor the data. We'll be able to delete the asins and add new asins. So for example, let's add this asin, turn on, and run our script. So here's our script. Let's just run it. And now let's go back and check the data in a database. So basically this is the admin which we'll also build and modify. And here you can see all of your asins that are stored in here and all of the results, which you can also filter and do a lot of things. So for example, if you click here, you have all of the data that we are retrieving from the Selling Partner API. You have Marketplace ID, you have shipping currency, shipping price, listing currency, listing price, and so on and so on. Also, if it's a featured merchant and if it's buy box winner. So basically, not only you can analyze proper pricing things, but you can also check things like amount of the reviews and also positive feedback rating, because all of those things basically define if you win the buy box. Later on, you also can, for example, only check winning offers, which are stored here in the time. So for example, if you leave the script running for a couple of months, you'll have millions and millions of data that you can later on analyze and adjust it, and later on create your own strategy to win the buy box. Here, obviously, you can also combine the filters. So for example, you can check the buy box winners only for this particular asin. Here, actually, in this case, that was the same offer that was winning it, but obviously this changes. So this is basically what we'll be building today from scratch. And just before we jump to the code, I want to show you also one additional thing. So here, if you ever struggle with building custom software solutions, especially for marketplaces such as Amazon. So if you're a seller, you sell there and you want to automate some processes, connect to different APIs, just let me know in the comments or hit me up at deltologic.com. We have a contact form so you can directly reach out to us. And yeah, we'll definitely jump on a quick call with you, analyze your problem, analyze your needs, and hopefully we'll work together. All right, so now let's jump and build the actual solution from scratch. Okay, so let's start building our app. Again, it's for me a new day actually. So first we'll be installing our virtual environment with the Python and the Django. So here we are on the official Django website. Actually, I see that they implemented dark mode. So yeah, there's install Python, install Django. I think it's here. Yeah, pip install Django. So what we'll do is we'll use pipenv install Django, right? Okay, and now let's go back to official website and just follow the tutorial. In order to create the project, we need to do, first of all, we need to enable our environment, activated, pipenv shell. Now we are here. All right, so let's create the project, Amazon monitoring solution, and let's add dots so it's actually in the same environment as pip file. It's just as the app here. Now let's open our favorite code editor. In my case, as always, is PyCharm, and then let's activate the environment inside the PyCharm. All right, once we have our Django, basically we can run it if you want, just to check. Of course, first we have to run the command to make migrations, like the initial migrations, and migrate them. And obviously we'll have our SQLite created. We are not going to use Postgres. There is no need for this. This project is only for educational purpose, not a production use. I just want you to follow this tutorial to simply create it locally, and then of course if needed you can easily change it for the production use. So let's run our app. All right, so we have it here, successfully created our Django app. And now let's create the app, which is, this is of course the end result. Let's create the app responsible for the monitoring. So here you have the command that will be manage py, or like Python manage py startup. Let's type monitoring. Okay, so now let's go to PyCharm, and as we see, we already have our app here. We have our settings module. What we need to do is we definitely need to install a couple of libraries, and we need to first of all like attach our monitoring app to the apps in the Django panel here. So here are the install apps. First of all, we'll have some third parties apps, and then we'll have our local apps. So our local app will be monitoring, and then for the third party apps, we'll install a couple of dependencies. So let's do it right now. So the packages that we're going to use, of course, the Python Amazon. This is Amazon SPAPI Python. This is basically what we covered already in the many different videos on this channel. So if you are not familiar with setting up process of the actual Amazon SPAPI, go watch my video on that. I have it on my channel when we simply go through the process of setting up the account and the selling partner, creating the IAM roles and so on in order to have the access to the SPAPI. And then there's a very nice Python wrapper that actually make it super easy to authenticate the requests, sign them off, and then just do the request to the actual API without much of the coding. Those are just some modules here that we can use, and then we'll be using some of the modules in our app. So first of all, let's install it. The next library will be basically Django Bootstrap, and this library is pretty much for fast coding the HTML. So for all of you who don't know what the Bootstrap is, if you go here, actually a Bootstrap is a CSS library that make it super simple to basically create those components. This is the next one. The next library is a Django Crispy Forms. Those are basically Bootstrap forms. So this library just makes it super easy to create the actual forms. Basically, we'll be able to create a form which looks like this, and of course the Bootstrap style, like this is how this will look like. And then the last library is basically Django environ, or whatever, how to say it. But basically this library responsible for reading .env file, so we can store our credentials secure. In this case, credentials for the SPAPI, for the Amazon SPAPI, so we'll be able to do the requests. So this is the last library that we'll be actually installing in our environment. So this is our pip file. This is how it looks like. Those are the libraries that we just installed. If you didn't follow through the video, just install them right now. one after another. All right, so now let's actually go to our settings and let's start by configuring this file. So first of all, we'll be importing the actual environ to read our env file, but obviously we don't have it right now, so let's just create it here. And so this is touch.env. Now the file is created, and now we can just simply create a key, assign some secret value to it, and simply read it here. So just as an example, you right now want to run this server, you'll see that our environment was basically like our keys from the .env file were read and displayed here. Now here in this actual file, .env will have to get the refresh token, LWA, app ID, client secret, AWS access key, AWS secret key, role RN. All of those things you can find in my channel. In this video, automate your Amazon orders data with SP API, Google Sheets, and so on. Basically, we start with the description and intro of selling partner API, roles, registering the application, and so on. So follow this tutorial in order to set it up correctly. And now let's get back to the video. All right, so we imported Bootstrap 5 and Crispy Forms. All right, now let's, for tiers, let's create the templates for the actual templates. So we can also create the directory here for our HTML templates. And here pretty much we need to decide the template pack of Bootstrap 4 and gather our credentials for the selling partner API. All right, the next step will be working with the URLs. So first of all, here, those are all of the root URLs. And here, let's import include. And let's append here the URLs from the monitoring app. And here we just need to create this. All right, so this is the structure of the URLs here. Meanwhile, let's open views.py, where we'll be actually creating our views function. So pretty much here in views and in the paths of the URLs, we'll have three different paths. So basically, let's check the out result. And as you see here with our root URL, then we have the form with add asins. So this is like a create view. And then we have the delete one, and then the one to handling, turning on and off the actual asins, which will be gathered from the API. So let's code it right now. All right, so here we'll have those three endpoints, switch API with the argument of the actual ID, and same for the delete asin, right? So let's jump to views.py right now. Or actually, before we go here, let's define our models on the data that we actually be requesting from the Amazon. So let's first of all, let's create our base model. This is basically a very nice practice when you build Django apps, because then for each other model, we will simply inherit from this one. So this is the one which is not like a separate table. This is like a base class, basically, as it says, for every other model to inherit those two fields, created that and updated that. It's, I think, very nice practice if you do it this way, because then for each of your models in the database, you'll basically have those two fields, so you'll know when the object was updated or created. Okay, so we have our asin, again, inherited from base model. We'll have of course, the asin as a char field and unique. I don't know what was the maximum length of the asins, but pretty much, they are lower than this. and then it's running. This is basically the field which will differentiate if we should scrape the new iterations of the buy box and competitor's offers or not. All right, so the endpoint I will be looking at is get item offers. So as you see here, this is the one. Get offers response. So as you see here, this is the model that will get back the response to marketplace ID, ASIN, SKU, item condition, status, and then actually more details. So the actual offers, which we'll see here, and then for each offer, basically you will have also additional fields such as buy box winner, shipping, listing price, seller feedback rating, and so on. So now I'll just implement all those fields in our Django app as a model. So first of all, ASIN, this will be a foreign key to the actual class, and then let's add the rest of the fields. All right, so this is our data row. So basically those are the fields we'll be extracting from the API, and now let's just apply our migrations. So, okay, so we forgot the comma here. Let's do it again. It's migrated, perfect. So now let's just add them to the Django admin panel as well, so they are displayed there. Alright, so I created data row admin, which will be a little bit custom than normal, because I want to actually display a little bit more fields in the admin and search through fields of like ASIN and then list the filters. So let's just create a super user right now. It's a command manage by create super user. I think I can zoom it out a little bit for you. Wait. No, I don't think I can. Right, anyway, this is the command. Now let's go to our admin. It seems like we have some problems with the view because it's not returning anything. However, our admin should work. So here you already have the asins and you have the data rows. And basically you see that here's the search, here are filters. You can create a new one. Of course, first you need to pick the asin. But of course, we don't need to create them. We'll get them from the API soon. So let's create the form right now for creation of our new asins. All right, so this is our form, basically with the label asin, length is clear, and then the widget basically is the styling of our form. We'll be using those crispy forms that I mentioned with the Bootstrap classes. So form control M1 basically is a margin, and this is actually, if you Google, you will see that this is the Bootstrap form, so it's already styled like that. Here, just wanted to pause the video for a second. If you're a seller and you are using the old MWS in your current software or like scripts, and you want to migrate to the new SSP API, here at Deltologic, we do it as a service. So just fill the form on our website, deltologic.com, and fill up the form. Basically afterwards, me or someone from my team will jump on a free of charge consultations with you, and then we'll see if we can work together. Now let's get back to the video. All right, so at this point we are left with three things. So one obviously is the whole HTML, and then the views and the function to read the data from SSP API. So I would suggest first we work with the views and HTML, and then as the last part, we'll pretty much continue with the SSP API. All right, so created two files, base HTML and home HTML, and pretty much, yeah, this is kind of also the standard way of building views and templates in Django. So you have one base HTML that you later on inherit from to further templates. Here I will just simply copy and paste the code because there's not really need for me to writing everything from scratch, and I will simply explain it to you. And if you ever have any troubles with getting the code, especially HTML, in a proper way, just get to the GitHub and copy and paste it. So just to explain here step by step, first this is load static for static files, Bootstrap 5 for Bootstrap library, CSS, JavaScript. Then here we have a standard HTML file with a head, and for head pretty much we have a title block which we call our app. It will be visible on top of the tabs with the custom background color, CSS, and here we'll create the container class pretty much with some CSS classes of Bootstrap, and we'll start with building Amazon buy box and price monitoring tool. And here, this is important, this is a place for our templates. So once we inherit from the base, home HTML will be actually rendered here. Let's now go to home HTML. And here we'll extend base HTML, load the static as well if they won't load, like I have a lot of problems with Django static files. And here let's do test. Now let's get back to our view and render this. Alright, so let's render it. Let's get back here. So as you see here, we have our title from base and then the test. Now what we'll be working on is basically the table itself together with the form. So just checking our solution from the past, this is what we'll be building right now, this whole table. Okay, so again, I decided to copy and paste the HTML because this is the hardest part to basically stay in focus. So feel free to copy it. However, I will explain and uncomment stuff that it's not needed. So first of all, we have a main div, which will basically hide everything inside. Then we have a title table with the asins. Then we have table itself and the actual form. We don't have the form yet. I will actually comment this for now. Just focus on the table. Table itself will be basically empty if we refresh right now, but pretty much we have those things, and now what we need to work on is filling the table with the data that we'll gather and create the form for the asins. So I would suggest we first create the form. This is the form. In order to make it work, we first need to pass it as an argument and render it here. So let's go back here to the views. Alright, so if we have the post method, this means that we'll be creating something, then therefore we need to read it from the form, from form data, get the asin and create or get the new one. In case if it's already created, we won't duplicate it. And then if we don't do post rather than get, we just create the empty form and render it. So let's just check it right now. Alright, now we can create pretty much anything. If we do test one, it worked, so it got created. However, we don't render any data yet. However, if you go to database of the admin, not here but here, you will see that we already created one asin successfully from our form. Let's just delete it right now, we don't need it. And let's get back to the app. Before we continue here and actually do some things with our data, let's get it right from Amazon. In order to do that, we'll create a new management command that later on can be, for example, run through cron job. So it means that you can schedule your job and it will, for example, run every hour to check the offers of your competitors and who is the buy box. Alright, so those are all the libraries that we'll be using. Alright, so let's now create the comment. Alright, so we'll have our main function where we iterate over each active asin that is turned on, basically. I mean, again, here in the table, for example, this one, those are now turned on because you can turn it off, right? So we'll iterate just for the asins that are on. All right, so let me explain what we just built. So here we are running main function get data for each asin and save to database. We are again iterating over all of the active asins. For each active asin, we need to actually pass it here. Okay, sorry. Here is this get pricing from Amazon for asin with asin. First, we are reading our credentials for Amazon Selling Partner API. We are using Products API. This is the category of the API that we are going to use. We are passing the credentials and marketplace valid for us. In this case, I'm using the Italy because I have the seller account for the marketplace from Italy. Then I'm getting the offers, so get item offers, and I'm getting the payload. So this is the endpoint that we are getting, that we've been discussing pretty much in the API here. So let's go back, and then after we are getting the response as a dictionary, we need to convert this dictionary to the database. I mean, we need to save it to the database as our office. We are iterating over this dictionary. We are iterating over this list of dictionaries and creating objects in the database. And those are all of the I would say arguments, like variables that we are retrieving from this dictionary. So now let's just actually run it. So in order to do this, we need to actually go to Amazon Italy, get one product. Let's say we want this, but let's pick this particular thing. As we see, we have some offers in the buy box with different offers. So let's copy the asin for this. All right, we have our asin. Now let's run these. It's service running. Let's go to the database. Since our form is actually, no, wait, our form is already working. It just, we don't display it. So as we see here, we have our asin. Let's click that it runs. And now let's run our function. Manage py get data from Amazon. Let's run it for this asin and now refresh it. So as you see, we already retrieved the offers with the buy box winner here. We can check for the details. We also have the whole response here stored as a dictionary. We have listing price, shipping max hours, and so on. We can even do it for like multiple different asins. But before we do that, let's just focus on creating the front end. So we want to achieve this. And again, right now we are having this. So let's focus on displaying the tables. So what we need to do is pretty much go to views and just pass the data to HTML. Okay, so basically we filtered and we got all of the asins here to display them. And then for each asin, we actually aggregate some data. So to get the buy box winner, we are pretty much just filtering the buy box winner and getting the newest one and its listing price, and we are getting number of offers that we already gathered for this particular asin. So let's refresh it. As you see, this already works. Now we have those two parts left, so switching the system and deleting the asins. So if we want to turn it off so we don't scrape it, right, we don't run it through our command, we need to build it here. It's pretty simple. Okay, so here switching the systems, pretty simple. This is actually a very nice trick. So we are getting the opposite of the value that we have. We're saving the objects, and for deleting the asin, we basically delete the object from the database. So let's check it out here. Let's turn it off. So we turn it off. Now let's just add one more asin and let's delete it. This also works pretty nice. So let's add actually one more asin, maybe this particular thing. It has only two offers. Let's maybe get something else. Let's go to main Amazon. Let's get this Lego dinosaur. Looks like there's a lot of offers over here. We can retrieve it. Let's just put it to our system. So again, that was the old system. This is our new system. We can turn on those two things and again run our script for gathering the offers from the Amazon. All right, it worked. Now let's go back to data rows. And now we have a lot of data rows. What we can do is we can search for them. So for example, we can do, it seems like we have actually error here. So it's good that we cut it. All right, let's try it again. Okay, now it worked. So as you see, we can search for it now. We won't get any results. Let's go back. Now we can also filter by the asin, and we can combine the filters. So filter by the asin and get the buy box winner, or like all the buy box winners. So yeah, that's pretty much this. This is what we built. And yeah, for the further improvements, definitely you can deploy it, add some more conditionings, or I'll add some more fields that you want to gather from the SP API, and yeah, basically play around it. And if you obviously have any questions regarding the development, hit me up here in the comments, or yeah, go on our website Deltologic, where we can just get on a call with you to talk about your project scope and hopefully work together. All right, guys, that was it for today. Thanks a lot, and I see you next time.